Hey gorgeous, this is episode number 279 with the wonderful Cami Guildner.
This is Cami Guildner. You are listening to Heart Sales Podcast with Christine Schlonski. Enjoy.
I'm so excited for this conversation. I just love Cami's work. Cami weaves soulful inspiration into mindful business strategies, helping her clients up-level their business. Today we will be talking about how taking care of you helps grow your business. Cami believes that women's voices matter, and she is a connector, a storyteller, and a business coach for women. Cami also guides leading Changemaker women to give voice to their most important message and create a ripple effect of worldly impact. This is just so amazing, and I just can't wait to dive in. So let's get started. Well, I am so excited to have you on the show today, Cami. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here with you.
Yeah, I just, we had a conversation before, and it's so amazing what you do. I just love the whole topic of what you set out to do, especially for women, like the extraordinary women and empowering women. So that's, I guess, something that we both share a passion for. How do we help or support women to really step into the spotlight? So tell us a little bit, like what... Or why did you decide to really kind of niche down on women?
Well, it's funny. It really came very organically, right? I think it was when I first started coaching. I think, I've been coaching for close to 11 years at this point. And when you first start coaching, I think the natural inclination is just you want to help everybody, right?
Yep.
And and it becomes very clear very quickly that it doesn't serve you to try to coach everybody. And so every time you niche down, you tend to grow your business, things expand. But I can tell you, it was just, I think my message, and like yours, it's also that heart-centered message, right? It's connecting into this deep soul of who we are. I think it just really resonates with women. And so very early on, my business that's who was being attracted into my business. And at some point I said, okay, I'm just going to own this because 95% of my clients are women. Doesn't mean that I don't have some men clients, because I do. And I love when I get my smart men clients joining me and really helping them, get deeper into their how they want to show up in the world from a very heart-centered space and having impact with their message. That makes me really excited. But very organically, my business was just mostly, it was 95% women from the very get-go.
Yeah. I love that. And somehow I feel as a woman, you understand a woman better than a man. And it's really, with my background of high ticket sales over the phone, most of the people I talked to were men. So I was really learning how to tap into the energy, the thinking, the decision-making process, and how I could actually not just understand it, but kind of use it for my sales process, that I was not a guy calling, was really, really valuable. And I think a lot of women might be afraid when they start their businesses to also offer their services to men. And as you just mentioned, I do have clients who are men, right, but they have a different view on the world. I feel it's like this: they want to understand this heart-centered way. They want to understand how to nurture more and kind of go away from the conquering. So it's really an interesting energy and process to watch how they evolve and transform, and how when they sell to women make that huge difference, because now they have the tools to talk and act in a way that women really get.
I so agree. And I think women's voices, I think that women's wisdom is the medicine our earth needs right now. And there's this energy that is really rising up. And I'm excited about what's happening in the world when it comes to women putting their voices out in a bigger way, and the community that comes together as women. I think we join together in community. We join together in community in such powerful ways. And supporting one another and uplifting one another. There's something different about women in community than men in community, frankly. And it's not, wrong or right one way or another. It's just it's an energy that I think our world needs right now.
Yeah, totally. And I just had the conversation with my husband the other day, talking about, the mission and the passion I have, and trying to explain why I think it's so important that I do address women.
Yes.
And I was like, well, at the end of the day, even though we do not have children, but women are raising men. And if women are empowered, if women can make decisions because they have the money, they have the choices, they do not depend on someone, then they can act in a different way. They can have or live their full potential, and they can also raise the little boys in a way that is more aligned with what the world needs right now. Right. Which
I so agree. And I do have a son, and he's grown. And I was a very young mom, and I was a single mom. I was only married for a very short period of time in my 20s. And so we were, I was a single mom most of most of his growing up years. And he has the most beautiful outlook on life, and he treats women with respect, and he stands for things that he has good value. I mean, he just has a different sense of value being raised by a single mom. And I think that, yes, we raise our boys and we can help them see the world in different ways. And frankly, I think, and I'm sure you do this with your husband, you help your husband see the world through a different lens. I know my husband sees the world through a different lens than he did, before he met me 15 years ago. So there's this expansion happening. There's this evolution happening. Yeah. And I think it's, like the work you're doing, it's helping people step into seeing the world in different ways.
Yeah, totally. And that's why I appreciate what you're doing so much, because it's really that change-making process, right? It's not saying like something is bad. I do think it's really important for children to have both their mother and their father.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very unfortunate that so many relationships don't work out. But again, like when we look behind the scenes, it kind of breaks down to somebody not being able to have their full potential, to live into their full potential, and the communication we have, which is at the end of the day a sales conversation.
Isn't that the truth?
Isn't that just the thing that we feel like, well, it's a relationship and we have this idea of, it's all the fairy tale, right? I dreamed so long of, somebody like how do you say in English? Like, in the Pretty Woman movie, like
right.
On the white horse, like
riding in on the white horse and saving the princess, right?
Yes. Like something like this. We are so romantic, which nothing against being romantic, but if you can kind of couple it with a really good sense of also communicating what you need, right? That you don't expect that somebody's reading in your eyes.
Yes.
Or that, obviously maybe your wine glass is empty, and you kind of hope and wish that, he would be the gentleman filling it up again. And instead of just saying, hey, could you please refill my glass?
Right.
Like these tiny, tiny things. And I feel because women are conditioned more in this way through being raised in a certain way, to living in certain cultures, through the media, through the fairy tale movies, that we also expect that in our businesses.
Right. And this is, I think, where we have to show up differently. I mean, we have to be different. We have to really show up and do things differently. So I think you're spot on. There are some patterns that we may have been born into, but where we're going in the future, especially as entrepreneurs, is we have to show up in a different way. And it's not the driving hard force of the masculine ways that we've been taught. I mean, I came out of the corporate world and certainly had many, I know how to do the strategy. I know how to do the linear thinking. I know how to do those components. But that's not where the magic takes place in our businesses. Where the magic takes place is really getting into this, this heart-centered space and being able to hear that wisdom that's within us, letting that wisdom guide us, finding the flow and that universal purpose that we're each put onto this earth to do. And that's a whole different way of being and doing business than what was traditional, linear thinking, strategic thinking. And it's not that we don't do those things. We have to do the linear and strategic, but it's doing them in a different way.
Yeah, totally. And at the end of the day, I feel, and that might just be my perspective, that might just be my way of viewing it, but I feel that a lot of men, really successful men, at the end of the day, when they got to where they wanted to go, they do not feel fulfilled because they missed so much out on the way. I had the conversation just a couple of days ago with someone who wants to interview me on their summit, and they told me the story and why they created the summit. And the pure reason was it was a super high achiever, achieving, burning out on the way, not noticing that he didn't spend quality time with his 3 children, that he didn't spend quality time with his wife. So the relationship suffered, his health suffered. And then he didn't even know why he was doing what he was doing, but he was so on that hamster wheel of achievement that he forgot about all the rest of life and wasn't living.
Yeah. And it was when I think about when I made this transition to being an entrepreneur, I was in that very broke space. I was getting sick. I was, I was getting all the signposts that told me things were supposed to shift, and I wasn't really listening. So thankfully, the universe kind of guided me in a different direction and gave me some new gifts. And I'll be honest, I have to be very mindful of my own journey, of making sure that, because I'm passionate about the work that I do, right? I love the work that I get to do. And I have to be very mindful of not falling into that drive, do, and really, making the space in the morning for myself and gifting myself the space in the morning to slow down. Like this morning, I took time, and we're doing this on an early morning interview for me. And I got up early enough so that I could do my journaling and sitting outside. The owls were calling to each other. And I was in this beautiful space of just being this morning. And, I think making that and gifting myself, and I keep saying making, it's gifting myself that space helps me slow down and actually be much better at what I do.
Yeah, let's talk about this morning ritual for a little bit, because I think it's so important. For example, my morning today, I totally screwed up.
And I do that too. I totally do it.
I didn't do anything. I was like, no, I don't feel like having a walk in nature barefoot. No, not today. I don't feel like connecting with the universe today. I don't feel like journaling today. Well,
doesn't that just sound ridiculous when you say it out loud?
Totally. Yeah, I really have to laugh at myself. Like, what's going on? But we do sabotage ourselves, and we are in this doing. And I really got stressed a little bit with my to-do list. But then I was looking forward. I had so cool appointments today that I was really looking forward to those conversations, to those sessions. But still not doing my journaling, it kind of sets me off on a not so great path. And it kind of catches up during the day when I need to remind myself, all right, are you in alignment right now? Like what's going on here? When I do journal in the morning, I do have that clarity. I have that certainty that things are going the right way because I just journaled them how I want them, right? How I desire them. And it also gives me this piece of focus.
I so agree. I know I'm actually much more productive on the days that I make that space. And I learned that a long time ago. And I think that's why it's so ironic when we miss those mornings and we don't, that sabotage that happens. I know that I'm more productive. I know I get more creative ideas. I know that the work that I do is stronger and better when I make that space in the morning. Yeah. And it's even just something, and it's really interesting. Just coming, we're in the middle of this pandemic, right? And early on in the pandemic, I really was good about making space for myself in the morning every day. I mean, I use Insight Timer a lot, and I had been, I think I was on 70 days of continual day after day doing a meditation in the morning. And then somewhere like about June-ish, I totally, I don't know what happened, but I kind of let that all, it fell to the wayside. Right. And I know that I was feeling not the same connection. I wasn't feeling the same flow. And when I was able to recommit to that, then I start to be just the great ideas start coming to me. It's like the visions of for example, I've been working on this body of work that I'm super excited about. And a few days ago, I just had this visual of a tool and an actual artistic visual of what could be in this what I call R factor. I can tell you about what R factor is later, but it's a tool to really track how people are tuning into their R factor, how they resonate in the world, and how they're doing it on a daily basis. And I literally sat down, I drew it, and I sent it to a woman who did some artwork for me. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can totally draw this for you. And it was like within 30 minutes, I had that. I'd sent it off to her. And I know it's a really important piece. And it's because I'd made that space for myself that day.
Yeah. Yeah. So what advice would you give someone who is maybe struggling in their business right now and they feel like they don't even have the time to journal or to meditate because they have so much on their to-do list and they feel like if they don't do it, they don't get the revenue in, and then, life gets even more stressful. What could you say to someone?
Well, it's funny. I just read something a few nights ago that said, if you feel like you don't have 10 minutes to stop and pause, then you need to stop and pause for an hour. Yeah. And, and I think that's a really good point, because that is where you will be more productive if you spend 10 minutes a day just stopping and pausing and, reading something that inspires you. Listening to whatever universal messages want to drop into you, play with inspiration cards or runes or journal, or like you said, go barefoot in nature. I love that. Sit on your deck in the quiet of the morning. And that's one of my most favorite things in the world to do, is to sit out on my deck and just sit. Don't do anything, right? It doesn't matter what that looks like. It's a matter of tuning out the noise of the world, and you will be more inspiration. I mean, you will find more inspiration. You will be more productive. And, if you're feeling like you're not really fully stepping into, this is a tool this vision of this tool that I'm going to do really taps into making space each day for your mind, making space each day for your body. So making space to take care of your body in some way, making space for your spirit, however it is you spirit, and making space each day for community. And the tool that I'm having developed is literally a tracker for the month. So it's a spiral, because I love spirals. And each day is on that spiral. So 1 through 31. And it's just checking. I did something for my mind, my body, my spirit, my community, and just starting to track that, right? And starting to track this visual of how often are you doing something for yourself in those 4 categories, because those 4 categories can really help you. And frankly, those 4 categories can be the most important thing for growing your business. It will really raise how you resonate in the world. And you can have all the marketing in place. You can have all the right vision of what you want your business to be, the business model and all those pieces, and the right visibility. You're out doing things. And if you're not taking care of how you resonate, your business won't grow and expand like you want it to. And it's those 4 factors, what I call the R factor, that will make your business grow like crazy, because you're taking care of you first.
Yeah. Yes. This is such an important point, and I think we forget about that so often, especially women struggle with that.
Because we want to take care of everyone else first, right? We want to take care of our clients first. We want to take care of our family first. And we fall way down on the list. And you can't do any of those really well unless you raise yourself up to the top of that list.
Yeah, totally. It's like this, overused example, the mask in the airplane, right?
Yes.
You put your mask on first and then you can support others. And if your cup is empty, well, who are you going to serve? Like, who are you going to give from your cup if it's empty? Right. So really make sure you take good care of yourself. And I have experienced that over and over again, when I was still in the corporate world and, very male dominated and driven, lots of pressure, like high pressure, open office space, lots of people calling at the same time, like, anything I can't even imagine doing right now, but I've been there, right? And that was right. my normal, and I guided people there. I built teams in that environment. And really, when I had my days where I did my rituals, and because sometimes you just got stuck, right? You called and nobody would say yes to whatever you had to offer. But when you did your rituals, when I was in my space, when I was aligned, the next person said yes, or at least they were interested. And that helped to elevate the vibe as well, because now somebody listens to you, right? And yes. Nobody slams the phone or, has some big excuse why it's not a good time to speak to you. So I really felt that difference. And when I started my business, I was like, well, I'm starting a business because I want to support people to sell, and to sell in a way that feels aligned, and where sales doesn't feel like sales anymore, but like giving love, right? And I thought, what can I do to take that flow that I have experienced to make that my new normal? Right.
And I so agree. And it's like when we can step into the flow, it's lighter. I mean, we just feel so much better, right? Versus if we're in this drive, the push, and there's tension in that. And when we let go and step into the flow and trust in that flow, there's such beauty with that.
Totally. Yeah. And I love the gift you are giving us today. Basically, it's an invitation to your Extraordinary Woman Connect Facebook group. I just love that. I love the title because I do think every woman can be extraordinary if she chooses to. And I'm going to put the link in the show notes as well. And you have an amazing event coming up. I think we touched on that briefly. So do you want to talk about this?
Sure. It's November 5th through 7th. It's Extraordinary Women Ignite, and it's a virtual conference this year. This is the 6th year of this conference. It's the first year it's virtual, but I'm very excited about it being virtual because people can attend from anywhere. Yeah. And it's 3 days of really raising up your voice, what it is you want to stand for, getting clarity around who you are and what's the impact you want to make with your voice. If the whole world could hear one message from you, what would it be? So that's where we're really building. We're building the vision of what you want your business to be, and really starting to focus on how do you raise up your visibility in 2021. And I think that right now, our voices are needed in the world, right? Our voices. So 2021 is going to be a really important year for all of us to be stepping in all of our gifts and showing up in our best light. So it is November 5th through 7th. And because I know you have amazing listeners, we're going to offer them a discounted ticket for people who can get $50 off. And so in your resource section of your page, we'll include the link to the page and where they can get what the code is to get the discount.
Oh, that's super cool. That's exciting. And I think you have your event. It's so in case somebody listens at a later point of time, you have that on a regular basis, right?
Yes, we have it. We have it once a year. And this, like I said, this is the 6th year of doing this. So I'm planning for 2021 to be back to live, but I'm actually really excited about the virtual aspects of it this year. And it's an ability to, one of the things about all of my events that I do is about creating, and even my Extraordinary Women Connect, it is about connecting great women to great women. and the communities that take place or that create and form, and the partnerships and the relationships that happen at my events are really powerful. Some people will tell you that's my superpower in creating that kind of connection. And so I love that. It makes me really excited to see what blossoms from that.
Yeah, wonderful. And I love that you do it virtually. So, people from all around the world have the opportunity to join. And, like myself, I have traveled so often to the US, but, usually you travel like for a full day. That can be exhausting.
Yes.
So if you can join online, I mean, that's really, really cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, also with the opportunity to, for people to get some hard sells discount. So,
you bet.
Thank you. Wonderful. So we are basically for this episode out of time, but we do have a second one, and I'm so super excited because I do want to talk a little bit more about your sales journey and the advice you can give people of how they really can step into their business by sharing a little bit of or more of your story, of your process or transformation you've gone through coming from the corporate world and then becoming an entrepreneur. And I'm just really curious to know, like, how did this play out? What were the challenges? What were the wins? How did you adjust? And I'm so grateful we have another conversation.
Oh, me too. I actually have some really fun stories around my sales journey. So I'm excited to share them.
Cool. Thank you so much, Cami. Wonderful.
Thank you.
And, talk to you soon.
Okay.
Well, I could have talked to Cami for hours. I hope you feel the same way too, because she's going to be back in the next episode and we will be talking about an amazing sales journey where she has started and where she has ended up right now. And I hope this is a huge inspiration for you. I also hope that this episode was a huge inspiration and motivation to taking better care of yourself, because I have not really met any entrepreneur who at any given time is doing the best self-care they can. And well, that might just be me. Maybe you are in a much different place, but I know for sure that I do struggle sometimes to set time aside, to tune in, to be with myself, to connect to spirit, to nature, and to really go deeper in all these ways, because I'm too busy with working in my business instead of working on my business. So that was just a beautiful reminder of how aligned things can be, how much flow there can be, how much love and creation when you are starting to take good care of yourself, and your business will grow with you. So thank you so much for having been here. Hop on over to christineschlonski.com, find the podcast tab. There you find all the show notes to Cami's episode, including the resources we talked about, the wonderful offer she made for her exceptional event, Extraordinary Woman Ignite virtual conference, where you're getting a 50% off because you are a listener of Hard Sells. So hop on over and do not miss this. All the links that connect you to Cami and her work are there as well. And once you're over there at christineschlonski.com, I recommend you are signing up for the empowerment notes. These are my free empowerment notes right into your inbox, where I also share advice, strategy, tools, motivation, inspiration on everything that has to do with growing your business from your heart, with selling more with ease, grace, and conviction, and also asking your price while you stay authentic. So that you can get with the empowerment notes. When you hop on over to christineschlonski.com, you will find that in the tab. Thank you so much for having been here. Make sure you join us for the next amazing episode with Cami, and you have a wonderful day wherever you are in this beautiful world. And I'm saying bye for now.